Hey, what's up, guys? We're going to be going over the Pentose Phosphate Shunt, which is a pathway leading out of the glycolysis. So glycolysis is pretty much getting pyruvate and getting energy, but at glucose 6-phosphate, we can go through the Pentose Phosphate Shunt, or we could also go and make glycogen as well and store our energy. So why would we go through the Pentose Phosphate Shunt? We usually go through glycolysis, where we get our energy. Well, we will get Ribose-5-Phosphate, which is very important for, it's like the building block for nucleotides, which is extremely important. And we're only going to really do this if we have a real need, if our body has a real need for these Ribose-5-Phosphates, and if we don't need that glucose going in, becoming energy. So if we don't need energy, if our body's good, then we'll do this so that we could have more building blocks for the Ribose-5-Phosphate. If we're good with all that, the main products are Ribose-5-Phosphate and NADPH. But if we're good with both of those, we'll go through the glucagon pathway. But that one we're not going to talk about. So it could be in really good times or in really bad times where you're like oxygen deprived, but that's not common. So I wouldn't worry about that too much. So usually it's just when we're in good times and we need a Ribose-5-Phosphate. So when else are we going to use it? Or I'll give you a diagram right now, I guess. So it's going to happen when we hit glucose 6-phosphate, which is the almost the direct molecule from glucose. So glucose with the enzyme hexokinase makes glucose 6-phosphate. And this is where the shunt is going to start, is glucose 6-phosphate. So that's the starting point for all the pentose phosphate shunts. So, like the question, like let's say our body would need Ribose-5-Phosphate and NADH, which are both the main products of a pentose phosphate shunt. How would it look? How would it be different from if we were just looking for NADH or if we're just looking for Ribose-5-Phosphate? Well, I'm going to show you. This is the most common of the shunts. It's the most probable reason why we are even doing the shunt is to create Ribose-5-Phosphate and NADH, an energy source, so that not all that glucose is lost, or loss of energy. So you're going to get your glucose 6-phosphate, and each of these are going to take CO2, so it's going to take some carbon, so we are going to lose some carbons. Ribose-5-Phosphate is going to be created, and it's almost as simple as that. So and the whole diagram, the way it would look is almost just a straight line across from where G6-phosphate or glucose 6-phosphate is at. And so, okay, I know what you're thinking. That was really simple, but we'll see what's going to go. Easy, huh? That's what I wrote out earlier. All right. But what about if we were just looking for NADH, or what if we were just looking for Ribose-5-Phosphate? What would we do? How would we do it? How would we get rid of the NADH or get rid of the Ribose-5-Phosphate? So right now we're going to go over how we can only have NADH. We don't want anything else. So we're going to start with glucose 6-phosphate once again. That is the starting point for all of our shunts. And we are going to go classic way. We have CO2, and we're going to make our NADH, but we're also going to make Ribose-5-Phosphate. But what if we don't want the Ribose-5-Phosphate? What can we do? Well, thankfully, if we follow glycolysis' pathway down, G6-phosphate will turn into fructose 6-phosphate. So we're going to use this to our advantage, and this is a reversible reaction from fructose 6-phosphate. And then we're also going to have, and this is where I made a mistake here, this is not a reversible reaction between glycerate 3-phosphate to fructose 6-phosphate. This is not a reversible reaction, so that is my bad. But glycerate 3-phosphate is a reversible reaction with Ribose-5-Phosphate, so that could go back and it's going to create more fructose 6-phosphate. And I know what we're still wondering, how do I get rid of that Ribose-5-Phosphate? Well, let's see what we do. What would we have to eliminate? How would we get rid of that Ribose-5-Phosphate? Well, completely getting rid of it, we are going to need to Let me see where I can put my face cam, sorry. Alright, so we're getting rid of it, and if you guys could see it, since it's reversible, we're going to get a lot of glycerate 3-phosphate and create either a lot of ATP with the glycerate 3-phosphate, or we're going to make a lot of fructose 6-phosphate and just have that repeated until there's no ribose-5-phosphate and until we just keep filling up the NADH. This is what the system would look like, as we're just going to keep going through a repeated cycle until we have no ribose-5-phosphate and minimize the ATP. But NADH is an indirect form of ATP, so the glycerate 3-phosphate just may continue through glycolysis, and we may just get fructose 6-phosphate to go back up to glucose 6-phosphate to make NADH, which is what we wanted. So how do we just get, if our body just needs ribose-5-phosphate, but it's good on energy, it doesn't need NADH or ATP, how would we do that? Thinking about the enzymes that we've had. So we start with glucose 6-phosphate. Let's see. We're gonna start with glucose 6-phosphate. I know I'm waiting on to. All right, glucose 6-phosphate. That was a mistake. I'm about to erase it. There you go. Glucose 6-phosphate, and we're going to do the same way because we need to make the ribose-5-phosphate, and that takes and that's going to make NADH, but we don't want NADH, we don't want ATP. Our body's good on ATP, let's say in this example, because we just want ribose-5-phosphate. So how do we eliminate that out of our equation? Well, as I had said before, ribose-5-phosphate is reversible with F6-phosphate and glycerate 3-phosphate. So it's reversible, and they go back up to G6-phosphate. So what can we do? Well, G6-phosphate goes down to fructose 6-phosphate, and it also will go down to glycerate 3-phosphate. So we can almost eliminate or get rid of that direct passageway from G6-phosphate to ribose-5-phosphate. Let's just make fructose 6-phosphate and glycerate 3-phosphate and get those combined to make ribose-5-phosphate. So we're just going to take that away. So, booyah. Easy enough. We just remove the middle step and eliminate what you don't want, and that's what our body does. So we could make F6-phosphate and glycerate 3-phosphate, combine those to make ribose-5-phosphate. And once again, we use ribose-5-phosphate for the backbone of our nucleotides, so it's very important. On a bigger diagram, if you're looking at it, so glucose through glycolysis, we make 2-pyruvate. This one will look just upward because we're just going to make ribose-5-phosphate. No NADH. If our body is good on energy, we do not need any more NADH. We don't need any more ATP. Okay, cool. So now if we need ATP only, so what do you think would happen? So we don't need ribose-5-phosphate. NADH is a indirect form of energy, so that's going to be kind of implied with it as well. It's going to be hard to get rid of NADH, and it's just energy, so we want that as well. But for the meantime, how do you do it? Well, we're going to just go from kind of just run our course through glycolysis for the most part. But if our body decided to go, and this is the least common of the bunch because we lose energy, and we'll just go through glycolysis if that's all we want is energy. But if our body got stuck and we have a lot of ribose-5-phosphate and we're looking to get rid of it, we will do what we've been doing before. We're going to go through glycolysis. So we're going to take that ribose-5-phosphate and turn it into fructose 6-phosphate and glycerate 3-phosphate so that they can continue down the line and make more energy, and through glycolysis and through the Krebs cycle and whatnot. So quick question, which of these two do you think is the, I'm already writing it out. So why is glycerate 3-phosphate our primary and our fructose 6-phosphate our secondary? Well, if we create more glycerate 3-phosphate, we're skipping a lot of steps, and we're putting we're getting us ready just to go through the Krebs cycle, because we just need pyruvates to get into the Krebs cycle and to the link reaction where we'll get 6 ATP, and we'll also get the Krebs cycle, which I believe is 24 ATP at the top of my head, which is a lot of ATP if that was what we were looking for. And we have an overabundance of Ribose-5-Phosphate. So cool. See how we're skipping a big step in the pathway, or glycolysis pathway. We're getting all the way down to glycerate 3-phosphate, which gets ready to be glycerate 2-phosphate, and then phosphoenol pyruvate, and then pyruvate, which is our ultimate goal. And we're going to put those pyruvates into the Krebs cycle. I have a video on that, and or through the Ling reaction, and then through the Krebs cycle once we have acetyl-CoA. So very important, or very cool. And that is about concluding of the video. I'm going to go over, so yeah, I'm just writing down what we already know, what we already talked about. Primary is glycerate 3-phosphate. So pretty much the overall, the main products we get from the Pentose Phosphate Shunt, if our body really wants to, and it needs Ribose-5-Phosphate, that is what we're doing it for. And why are we going to do it? It depends on what our body needs. Our body is telling us we need Ribose-5-Phosphate, then it's going to go through the Pentose Phosphate Shunt. If our body has too much Ribose-5-Phosphate and we're in need of energy, it can use those Ribose-5-Phosphates, or our body's Ribose-5-Phosphate, and break down to make energy. And your body will do this if it's starving or if it's in a bad state. But that is not common. So we usually do it, the Pentose Phosphate Shunt, for Ribose-5-Phosphate creation. So thank you guys for watching and tuning in. I have a video on glycolysis, Ling reaction, and the Krebs cycle, and I appreciate all the support and whatnot. But thank you guys.